Companies and organizations which have IT and digital infrastructure for either their own consumption or for their customer environment need to have controls in place to ensure that they are securing their environment and infrastructure from threats, attacks, and compliance issues. But there needs to be a standard framework on which companies, entities, and boards across the world could trust. This is where ISO comes into the picture. ISO is applicable to various industries and domains, but in this video, we would be discussing only about ISO 27001, which is related to Information Security Management System. Let's understand first about the ISO. ISO is an international, independent, and non government organization which prepares, maintains, and updates various standards and control frameworks. So, let's understand what are the benefits of this. By doing this, you are improving the security posture of your organization and in the process implementing best practices as well as you are managing and reducing the risks for your organization's information security management system. Okay, let's begin with understanding the controls for ISO 27001. Currently, the ISO 27001, which is in force, is the 2022 version, but it's also essential to understand the 2013 version to know what was covered and what are the differences or updates to the current version. ISO 27001 2013 version has 114 controls across 14 control sets, which are information security policy, organization of information security, human resource security, asset management, access control, cryptography, physical and environmental security, and operation security. There is no need to, I have not mentioned the number of controls which are applicable against this because this is not currently in force. It is only for your understanding. If we move forward, we come to know that there are more control sets out of the 14, which are communication security, system acquisition, development and maintenance, supplier relationships, information security incident management, information security aspects of business continuity management, and compliance. Now that you have a fair idea of what was covered in the 2013 version of the ISO 27001, let us proceed with ISO 27002 version, which has 93 controls across 4 sections. Now, these 4 sections are organizational, people, physical, and technological. While the organizational has 37 controls, people has 8, physical 14, and technological has 34 controls. If you talk about the differences or the updates from 2013 version to the 2022 version, you will come to know that there are 11 new controls from 2013 to 2022 and uh, 56 controls have been merged into 24 controls. In this way, you have 93 controls across 4 control sets. Under the organizational control, you will be finding uh, various sections. So you will be finding various controls which cover policies, roles and responsibilities, classification, access control, supplier relationships, incident management, business continuity, and intellectual property. Under people controls, it talks about candidate screening, employment conditions, awareness and training, and remote working of people. So it is very essential that from the starting from hiring people to maintaining the employment uh, environment and training the people and creating awareness and when people are working from home. So security controls are also of utmost important. Moving on to the physical control, it talks about physical perimeter, offices and facilities, physical monitoring, and the protection from the environmental issues. Because it is very important to let's say we are in a data center, we are a company which has a data center, and that is very important to have physical security controls, like you have security guards in place, you have biometrics, you have card readers, you have CCTV cameras installed inside the data centers, and then you have uh, fencing, you have turnstiles, so you have all these kinds of controls which are in physical. So then you move on to the technical controls, which is also very important and the most interesting ones. You have endpoints, you have source code access, you have backup, you have malware, configuration management. It also covers the DLP or the data loss prevention, network security, application security, to name a few. So now that you have understood a bit of the controls and their sections and you have a fair idea, now let us understand and proceed to know the practical approach to the ISO 27001. Now, the practical approach to ISO 27001, or the steps in which an organization starts from scoping process until the certification process, this is where we will come to know. In the scope section, the organization, let's say the organizations have an internal audit team or they hire an external organization to assess their environment and take the management approval, do a risk assessment so that they can proceed for the gap analysis. In the gap analysis, the entity covering the audit, they prepare a statement of applicability, which is nothing but they prepare a statement or a list or a checklist kind of a thing where they will understand and you will come to know what kind of controls are there which are applicable for that particular environment or organization, and then where are the gaps, so that it helps them in the control mapping and the implementation phase. Next, when you move on to the implementation phase, the organization will do the controls gap configuration and implementation, where whatever controls are not applicable but are not implemented, then there is some timeline to implement those control and have a program where all these controls could be configured and then audited and verified that they are working fine. So once that is done, then there is a certification process. So before the certification process, there is another audit to find out that based on the scope and the gap analysis and implementation, all the controls as per the ISO 27001, according to the statement of applicability, hold good and they are working fine. And then that the company is ready for certification. So then finally, when the external audit happens, the company eventually satisfies all the requirements of the certification and they obtain the ISO 27001 certification. So in this way, the ISO 27001 provides a level of trust that this company, the organization with which other organizations are trying to do business with, as a supplier or their customer or their service provider or a partner, have good level of confidence, and then they understand that this company is secure because they are following the ISO 27001, which is an international standard of audit and control mapping. Thank you everyone. Thank you for browsing through this video and providing your support in the objective of learning and sharing knowledge. Please share in your network and let us know your feedback through the comment section. Thank you. Have a good day.